The Business of Art, brought to you by the Video Department. What has Wabash and Lake been working on this week?
Everything. The crazy thing about what we do is that in the fractional marketing space, we do whatever our clients need. So from aquaculture meetings, multinational aquaculture meetings, to automotive repair, to SaaS, to personal injury.
SaaS?
Yeah, software as a service.
Gotcha. I thought you meant just like
attitude. We have some very sassy clients.
And so aquaculture is agriculture in the water?
Yeah, it's fish farming.
Fish farming. Gotcha. Sure.
So there's a data analytics, predictive analytics firm that we work with, and they got into the space of aquaculture and realized, hey, it's one of the fastest growing spaces for protein for food in the world. And there are all these data points, but nobody's utilizing them to make production of fish better. Okay. So they're helping with that, and we're helping them do all of the marketing for it and the sales pitch, the presentation. They're building a new version 2 of the app, and Logan's working on the animation for the app.
Cool.
That's really cool stuff.
Yeah, I need to introduce you to Greenfin Studio. Have you met them?
No.
Dave and Paula Jasinski, husband and wife team. They do environmental communications. And most of what they do is story mapping, presentations for conferences and stuff like that, organizing conferences. But you guys definitely have enough not overlap that I think you guys could work together and help each other out in certain areas. So Joe Doran is our guest today. Not to be confused with Joe Doran. If you're a Richmond theater person,
there can only be one.
There can only
or like Highlander.
But ironically enough, Joe Doran's brother works with Joe Doran. You can work that one out for yourself.
Yep. Yeah, my brother is when he comes to town, he gets all the attention. He's you work on Broadway? You're a producer, a director, a writer? You're a Tisch grad? And I just go in the shadows, like, yep, cool, you got it. No, he is the, I joke, he's the talented one in the family. He's, right now, Cabaret. He's one of the producers of Cabaret.
Gotcha. With, who's the MC on that? It's,
they just changed the lead.
Yeah, of course it's somebody super famous.
I can see his face, but I can't think of his name. But they just changed out people for the next 6-month run.
Yeah, that's a good show to do that, is just to kind of swap in somebody to come in for the MC. Especially too, the MC is like only in like certain scenes, and it's just very easy to kind of plug them in. And yeah, well, that's great. And so where did you grow up?
All over the place. Parents are from the East Coast. Well, my dad's job had us going East Coast, West Coast, probably 14 to 18 months. And
what job was that?
Whatever job he could get. He did a lot of education. And so we bounced all over the place. We went back and forth to Utah. We were in Tucson, Arizona, but primarily in Utah. My mom's family's from Richmond. My dad's family from Boston. And child of the 80s. They split as a good 80s parents should. And we ended up here with mommy in Richmond. And just like any Richmonder, I wanted to, I can't wait to leave this town. I'm bigger than this. I'm going to go somewhere else. And then I met my wife and went, this place isn't that bad. And I think maybe we'll plant our roots here. And, now it's however many years later, and this is home.
All right. If you're watching this and you have that same story, comment below, because that is exactly me and my wife's story.
It's everybody's story.
So there's at least 2 of us here.
Yeah. Richmond is so hard to quit.
Yeah. So when did you settle here with your mom? How old were you?
11 or 12.
Where'd you go to school?
So I went to Henning. My brother went to Henning Elementary. I went to Falling Creek Middle. And then I went to Meadowbrook High School before it became, apparently has a bad reputation. I haven't been there in years.
Yeah, I think there was just a stabbing there recently, wasn't there? Yeah.
Great. Well,
I think there was in the last couple months. Yeah.
It was a good school. I learned a lot from it. My first AV teacher was there, Miss Silvestri, R.I.P. She and one other teacher helped us think differently. And I think outside the box with not just creative, but life.
Yeah.
And I credit the two of them quite often. So it was a great school. Yeah.
And then where'd you go to college?
VCU for a little bit until I didn't.
Okay.
And then I was working basically worked full time from 18 years old and on. And I actually got my first copywriting gig working with a radio station at 18. It was two things. It was promotions.
Mm-hmm.
I was a mascot for a radio station. And then they said, hey, can you help do other things too? I'm like, yeah, I'd love to. So I started writing ad copy and sitting in the studio and working with audio and recording and learning how to not do it well, and then learn how to get better and better and better. And just went from there.
And did you know, I know you know her now, but did you know Stephanie Atkins back in your radio days?
We missed, I've talked to her a few times since,
Yeah.
but we missed so many times, just barely.
Yeah. She's a guest of the pod as well, so I always like to bring it up.
She said she knew me. I'm like, oh, you're Joe Doran. I'm like, hi, Stephanie. I've heard of you, but I've never met you. But yeah, it was. She's very cool. Very
Well,
cool.
I certainly bring you up a lot. So another similarity, VCU dropout. You didn't go back.
No.
You were just working full time.
Mm-hmm.
So how long were you working in radio?
That migrated and changed. So it was radio, but it was always part of radio. Radio at the time became Cox Media Group,
Right.
a branch of Cox Enterprises, then different companies after that. But I was always on the part of the group that was trying to do what was next. So digital was just becoming a thing at that time. So I was a part of that. There was the print side. We became part of that as well too. So it was more than just the radio, but it was helping be a part of the advertising across multiple platforms. And it just happened to be at a lunch with one of the president of the company at the time, and said, local radio and TV loses 30% of business year over year because agencies come in and take the successful ones and fly away with them. What if we performed better behind the scenes and give them a reason to stay? Okay, cool, do it. Okay, cool, how do we do this? So we got together and we created a group behind the scenes where we helped super serve the top clients in as many markets as possible, and it ended up being something like 26, 27. I wasn't doing the work. We were raising each other up, and I guess it was the leader of that, but it was good to be a part of a lot of other good people who wanted to raise the bar.
So what does that look like when you're working to serve them with extra special care? What does that mean?
So a lot of times, this is something we're able to deal with now. Ads will be made all the time for a client, and you probably see this. Client wants something and you say, well, that's a great idea, great ad, but you can't pull that off.
Mm-hmm.
You can't back up that promise. We were able to start to ask those questions and say, well, I know you want this, but this is better for you. And then point out other things to say, sometimes the salespeople didn't like it, but we were able to say, yeah, I know you're looking to put all your money on this station, but really it makes more sense to be there. And then you should also consider doing something else too. Now, the sales rep would freak out, but the client liked it and stayed with us longer.
Right.
So everybody won. And then new owners came in and didn't care about any of that. And I said, well, I do.
Right.
And I couldn't do it anymore and quit.
How old were you when you quit?
This is 2018.
Okay. And so you were in radio for a while.
24 years, yeah. In all the different variations and changes.
Yeah.
But you could see it was ending. It was coming to an end. And God, I knew it was coming. So I knew I had a 2-year off ramp that I was working on. And worked to get my way out. But I knew I didn't want to be just an ad agency. I wanted to be something different because you can get ads anywhere. You're a commodity. Ads are a commodity. I'm a commodity. We're all commodities. But how do we stand out? Businesses need somebody who can help them not just with the ad, but make that better promise, make that plan, look them in the eyes and say, yeah, we can make this ad, but your logos are different on your website from your PDF, your truck, everything's different. Let's make that better. Let's make everything more efficient and more effective. And that's what we are able to do as that fractional marketing director.
Let's back up before you get to Wabash and Lake. What was it when you were younger? When did you know that you were like a creative person?
I've always been around, my family's creative.
Yeah.
Mom and dad, very talented. My mom, acoustic guitar, just, she'll sit there and play and feel, and, very, very talented. Her fingers, she has all the grooves in her fingers. My dad writes, sings. Look up Up With People.
Okay.
You ever heard of them?
No.
All right. Up With People was big in the 60s, like 66, 67 through mid 70s. If you look at albums, 67, 68, you'll see my dad's face looks a lot like mine without a beard on the cover of these albums. And you'll see my mom in the background. They toured the world and sang and performed for the Pope and Super Bowls and all these different things. I'm like, what? And so I grew up in this environment. We'd go to these reunions and there's mommy and daddy up on stage singing and dancing. I'm just surrounded by it. My brother went down that path and continued, but I don't quite have it. I was exposed to piano, bass, drum, saxophone, you name it. I can't do anything with it. My brother can. And so I realized that, I don't have this. I wanted to go to school to be an engineer. Black sheep of the family said, nah, I can't do that. I'll do this. But then I realized I can't count without, using my fingers and toes. And copywriting it is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Were you writing when you were younger?
A little bit, but am I good at it? Am I great at it? I don't know. I'm humble about that, but it was easy.
Yeah.
It was easy. And I've loved to come up with the idea, see it all the way through, be that translator, the communicator. Yeah.
So did you have any kind of form when you were younger? Were you doing like poems? Were you doing like comic books?
Comic books.
Yeah. That's another thread of podcast guests is comic books.
Yeah, my wife made she's a shadow box that she made. She found a bunch of, I've been an Iron Man fan forever. And she found old drawings I did in middle school of Iron Man. And she put them in, I think they're pretty good. Not bad.
Yeah.
And she put them up with a few of like Iron Man #5 that I have. So it's a really cool box of all that stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
See, this is where I need like a producer who can like pull up the picture of the album cover and like we could like watch a clip of them at the Super Bowl. Maybe one day. Not there yet.
Yeah, and I don't want that out in the world yet. But no, I actually have a friend who is a record collector, and he came into my offices years ago. He walked in and said, "Look what I found." I went, "Oh no." And it was my dad's face. He's like, "Ah."
Did he know?
No, he didn't until he pulled up and went,
"Oh, it's that.
This guy is," and then he saw the name on the back.
Okay,
and went,
yeah.
"This is Joe's dad." Oh no. It was fun.
So that kind of, and we don't have to talk about it any more than you want to, but that kind of brings back what you were talking about, moving around, and your dad knowing that he was a musician and an artist. So I'm curious, did he ever like try and do like day jobs?
Oh yeah.
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 Was it a struggle for him because he was such a creative person?
I don't know if it was. He's always been he's a great communicator. And so he did his best. He figured it out and he got into kind of sales training and education training based in sales. And I mean, he's retired, but he would get up in front of 10,000 plus people and engage with all of them. And I'm not kidding. And let's all get up and sing a song together. And they'd all sing a song together. I'm like, who does this? How do you get them to do that? So he took those skills and converted into something different. But he's still, I don't have the fact on this. I know he's written at least 5 state songs.
Like that are currently in use? Really?
Yeah.
Do you know of any states?
We just talked about it like a couple weeks ago when I saw him. And I can't remember at Thanksgiving. I can't remember exactly which ones they were, but it's Midwest, like South Dakota and yeah.
Wow.
So he has those skills. My brother carried on and yeah, my mom too.
This podcast is taking some wild turns. Unexpected turns.
Oh, I'm holding back.
What
so-
other like Wikipedia facts are going to come out during
Well, so
this?
so they're some of the friends in the Up With People group. We grew up with. We didn't know her that well, but we exposed to her. Glenn Close, the actress.
Yeah.
My mom, dad, and Glenn Close grew up together as friends. And I'm going, yeah, right. And then my dad, she did Broadway. She did a show on Broadway maybe 15, 20 years ago. And my dad got invited, hung out with her backstage for a while. And like, of course you did. Of course you did. So many stories, so many connections. And everywhere my dad or my mom go, people know them. Same with my brother. Everywhere he goes, they know him.
And so, all right, let's transition back. Now that we've got a little bit of your origin story in terms of because I think you and I operate similarly in that we use both sides of our brains. We're working both creatively, but we're also thinking about the business. We're looking at the bottom line, and we're thinking about growing revenue for these businesses.
And for us.
Well, yes. So if we grow revenue for them, then it'll grow revenue for us. That's the dream, right?
Odds are, yeah.
So did you 24 years in radio, all with the same company?
Different companies.
Did you immediately leave there and start Wabash Lake?
Yes, I had it as a kind of an exit plan for about 2 years. I put myself through some of the sales training, and they're like, "Oh, that's great. You want to learn sales?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to learn it from me. Cool." But I learned as much as I could about all the different departments so that I could walk away knowing exactly what I needed to do. How do you make a good narrative, sales narrative? All right, figured it out. How should a good presentation look and feel? Okay, I learned it. I figured it out. And then when I left, I was able to take that with me. So I made the most out of the time that I had there.
Where does the name Wabash Lake come from?
So growing up East Coast, West Coast all the time, in the 70s, 80s, the one thing that we had, every market we went to, we had ABC, CBS, NBC, and WGN Superstation.
Yeah.
So I grew up a Chicago fan.
We all did randomly.
I think so. I always love to joke. I'm a Cubs fan. I learned to lose at a very young age.
Yeah.
And got exposed to it. And then my teens got to go to Chicago and got off the L at the corner of Wabash and Lake. And I was like, well, that's a cool name. And it always kind of stuck with me. And it's, catchy name. When I got the chance to, meeting with a lawyer and making the plans, what do you want to call the company? I tried one or two that I thought I could work with, but trademarks, they couldn't be done. And I just said, okay, Wabash and Lake, sure. Oh, it's open. Great. Let's use it. Okay.
Did you start the company by yourself?
Yes. 100%.
When did you start bringing in people? How long was it? How long were you by yourself?
Well, the first person was Shelley Perkins, who's another radio victim. Is that the best way to put it?
I didn't know that about Shelley, but it totally makes sense. She seems like she comes from radio for sure.
She worked with Bill Bevins.
Of course.
There was Bill and Shelley forever here in the area.
Oh, okay.
The Bill and Shelley.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I always
yeah.
introduce her as like, she's the Shelley of Shelley and Bill. I like to flip it around.
Yeah,
because,
exactly. I mean, Bill Bevins is as close as you get to a Richmond celebrity, pretty much.
Same with Shelley. The two of them, they were celebrities.
Wow.
They still are celebrities. Everywhere we go, people
Yeah.
know her. I've known her for a long time, and I was fortunate. She came to me, said, let's get lunch. I'm like, okay, great, no problem. And we were hanging out, and she said, I want to work for you. I'm like, but you're Shelley of the Bill and Shelley. What are you doing? She's like, the radio's not going anywhere anytime soon. I need to get out and do something different. I'm like, okay. So that was about, I think it was 2019, early like March 2019. So it was right about a year plus in. I had the company since 2016, but I tested, did things, without breaking any rules or any agreements or anything, but freelance and tried and stumbled and fell and broke things but learned from it. Mm-hmm. So 2019, she came to me and I said, yeah, let's do it.
And what were some of the challenges early on with your business? Still suffer from it today a bit. Not suffer from it, but I'm recovering from it. The one-man band. Yeah.
Learning how to do it all. You know what I'm talking about.
A little bit.
I've seen you on outside. You know how to work the lights, the camera, the mic. You know how to talk to the client. You know how to get the right language. Yeah. You should have those skills. The hard part is letting go and, dismantling the one-man band is what I keep calling it. So now I've been able to dismantle that band.
And how did you get to the point where you felt confident enough to step away? Like, it's kind of like if you build it, they will come kind of mentality, isn't it?
A little bit. I am still stepping away.
Uh-huh.
You never truly fully step away when it's your company. I
Right.
mean, but I trust. I call them the pillars, and I mean it. I am nothing without them. Shelly, juggernaut. She's a juggernaut.
I guess it's easy when you're debating about, oh, do I bring someone on? And it's someone like Shelly. It's kind of a no-brainer.
Or Logan, our creative director.
Sure.
Logan, juggernaut.
Yeah, talk to me about him. Where did he come from? Other than space.
He was, I'm very fortunate. I've worked with everyone who's on my team. I've worked with in the past. So he was an intern with our group and just worked with him. And he,
At the radio station.
yeah, quickly saw he was smarter than me.
Yeah.
And I say that to his face. I'm like, dude, you're way smarter than me. So keep going.
Yeah. He seems like a character out of, what's the show? The really successful sitcom about the smart guys. You're always wearing a Flash shirt. It'll come to me. Go on.
IT crowd?
No. The biggest sitcom of all time about like the four nerdy guys.
Big Bang Theory?
Big Bang Theory.
Oh,
He seems like he could be like a guest star on Big Bang Theory.
I'll say he's too cool for that.
Well, he's handsome, but that's also kind of part of like what was the Big Bang Theory, is like they were also all kind of like handsome, like in a weird way.
He is hyper intelligent.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's one of the pillars.
Yeah.
I can rely upon, if it goes to Logan, it's covered.
Oh yeah.
If Shelly's got it, it's covered.
How far into your existence did Logan come in?
With COVID, things were time warp. So I know it was early COVID.
And so you started in 2018.
Yeah.
Shelly comes on 2019.
So Logan worked with me and I hired him in before I left. And I felt so bad about this. I brought him in as my
Oh,
assistant.
you mean into radio?
Yeah, knowing that I was going to leave.
Well, you got to do what you got to do.
Well, I didn't want to leave him with somebody. I knew he was the right person to step into my role when I left. But I didn't tell him that. I felt terrible. And two quick stories. I told him I was leaving and just saw like the blood drain out of his face. I'm like, but I have a plan. I'm coming for you. And what does that mean in that moment? Nothing. So, and then they had a little going away party. So we're all at the bar and I just saw like, he's standing there and he's on like beer 6 and there's the colors out of his face. I'm like, oh, this poor guy. I'm so sorry. But,
How long had you known him at that point?
5-6 years.
Oh,
I really don't
okay.
remember. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And he, again, incredibly intelligent. He moved on to another place. I think he worked at Virginia Beach and maybe one other market. But he kept reaching out and he would say, I'm seeing this problem. You guys had a good idea. Can I talk to you about that idea and learn and borrow and maybe try to put it in place here? I'm like, yeah, no problem. So I saw that he wanted more. And that's why I brought him back in. And then when I left, he took my role. And then shortly thereafter, I came back for him. Actually, it was during COVID. We went for a hike at Powhite Park. And basically, we were just hiking because we could be outdoors at that time.
Right.
And I said, yeah, I want you to join the team. I need you. How do we do this? And made it happen.
Is it just the three of y'all?
No. Jana Eubank, who's now she's a client services manager. She was there on set. Yep,
Yeah,
she was
yeah,
there.
yeah.
She was more behind the scenes, like cleaning
Yeah.
up stuff and take care of messes that might have been on set that day. She's another juggernaut, another pillar. She was an intern years and years ago. And I don't mean that belittling, because I think the world of both of them, all of them. But Jana, quickly, I could see, like, you're different. You use your brain. Most people don't use their brain.
Mm-hmm.
And she stood out because she was a thinker. And then she would dig in and she was a doer.
Mm-hmm.
And I made her offered her full time when she graduated back then. She joined. I helped her when I left. I told her first. She was one of the first people I said, "Hey, I'm out of here." She said, "I'm quitting too." Well, let me help you. Don't just quit. Let's find. So I helped her find another place and move on. Felt good about that too. And she came to me not too long ago and basically put a pitch together. She's always worked part-time with us because she's just part of the family. And said, okay, actually she called Shelly first and said, I have a plan. I'm going to work for you guys and I'm going to do this. And this is exactly what, just laid it all out. And how can you say no to that?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
It's incredible.
And that's the foundation now that I can rely on and spend time sitting here with you.
Yeah.
Work is getting done and I don't doubt it.
Right.
And then we can now build upon that even better. And so we're looking at the next couple people and to go from there.
Yeah. What kind of roles?
Because we're so different, we're not an ad agency.
Yeah.
We need thinkers, we need doers. So someone who can, how should a brand look in an event?
What is the difference between you and a traditional ad agency?
Ad agencies just make ads. We come in, we make a promise that the brand can back up every single step of the way, every client, every single day. So how's your phone answered? What's the copy on your website? What's your sales pitch? What's the narrative that the staff uses when they describe themselves? What is what's the sales funnel? There are 18 holes in that funnel. Let's patch all the holes in the funnel and make sure that when somebody comes in at the top, they efficiently get down to, I'm in, let's go. So basically, instead of a marketing director, a lot of groups can't afford one, can't retain one, can't find one. My team comes in for less than the price of a marketing director or a CMO. And we bring not just a thinker, but we bring the full team. Graphic design, got it. Ad strategy, got it. Don't need ads? No problem. We got you too. Case studies, white papers, social content, whatever is needed in that space as a high-performing marketing director would do, we do it for them.
So I'm going to ask you a question. I'll give two examples that you've already said. So what are some of the most unique things that you've been tasked with doing to help someone with brand? And I'll give you two examples. One that you just said, which is how they answer the phone. I think that's unique. And two, as I know you were helping somebody with menus at one point, which I also think is kind of, that must be fun. And that's a cool thing to work on. Any other interesting, unique things that stand out?
We've been exposed to so many interesting things. We're very fortunate to have a diverse group of businesses we work with. So it's really interesting. We work with, I'll say, Cena Hospitality, who is one of the largest Marriott builders outside of Marriott, and they're based here in Richmond. Ravi Patel, he's all over. If you look him up, you'll find him. He trusts us. We've helped build his brand, his pitch, his stuff better. So I've been on site as they're building hotels, learning that, that's $2 million of concrete. That's what $2 million of concrete looks like. I would have never known that. The aquaculture side. We never know what it takes for tilapia to grow properly. What the oxygen level should be, or the temperature. What's the prime temperature for catfish? Little things like that, just fascinating. Or because seafood companies, what's the best way to cook shrimp properly? I would have never learned those things. We got to pitch Whole Foods and tell them why this product should be on your shelf. I'll never be able to do that. But we're exposed to so many different businesses that we can. Window replacement. I know what a good window is and what a good window isn't and why they're better. I never know these things. So it's really interesting.
How do you find so many diverse types of clients? How do they find you, or how do you find them?
Fortunately, a lot of it's word of mouth. The thing that we can see that unifies all of them, and Shelley says is very best, it's the human-to-human factor. I don't care if you're B2B, B2C, insert new phrasing here. There's still a human side on every single thing that you do. If you're selling something through an app, there's still a human on that other side. What are their fears, their thoughts, their misconceptions about you in advance? How do we tackle that? How do we pull an M&M at the end of 8 Mile and win the rap battle, if you will, by making a joke about your mom before they do?
I thought you were doing a B2C M&M. I was like, what is that one? I don't know what that one is.
That's my... I'm not that cool. No way. That's part of the brand promise I keep talking about, is that we're able to dive in like that and find that human on the other side, make sure that we're connecting with them the right way. If it's replacement windows or tires or an app for aquaculture or predictive analytics for Unisys clients. There's a human. How do we talk with them? How do we get them to say, oh, there are 15 tools that are similar, but I like you better because subconsciously you treated me like a human. So we earn that respect, and then people see us as not a commodity. Our reputation, to put it simply, is people say we're the good people to work with. Not that you're the great marketing team. We're the good people to work with. I'll take that all day long.
How important is it to be, especially for what you're talking about and maybe just in our worlds in general, how important is it to be a lifelong learner?
It's mandatory. It's mandatory. You have to. I think it should be for everybody. You should be curious about what's around the corner. The new tool, the new toy, the old way that is now suddenly new again. Poetry. Why is poetry why did it connect with people 1,000 years ago? Why does it still connect with people 1,000 years later?
And why are people trying to, why are people now trying to get more to the nature living? People are leaving cities and trying to get more. It's, there's a lesson in there about that. And that's obviously a much bigger question, but yeah, I think it's very difficult to, I don't see how you can advance in whatever field you are in without either being willing to learn and grow. Mm-hmm. And I think the sort of yin yang flip side, dark side of that is being willing to step on little people or being willing to lie or something. Because there are people who advance in this world who are not learning. Mm-hmm. And I'm just kind of in my head is how do people who aren't lifelong learners get ahead in life? Because it just seems because I personally know a lot of people who I would not consider lifelong learners who are very successful. And it's that's interesting. It's something I've been debating with a lot lately is what makes someone successful and how can I recreate or tap into some of those things to continue to launch my own success.
I think all humans have the propensity for laziness. It's easy.
It's a nice couch.
It's a very nice couch. Just sit back like this. It's so easy to just stop. But then if the dolphin wants to eat, it's got to outswim the other dolphin to get to the fish. That's how it survives. We have that part too. It's hard to find that balance and embrace it. I say this sometimes out of love, and I try not to step on people. I think we as a group try to make sure we're kind. It's hard to do, like you said, in business. There are people who want to be aggressive and eat what you kill and go out there and kill it, bro. And I'm
sure there are people who do similar to what you do who have that attitude.
Oh, there are, yeah. I can faces right in my head right now as we're talking. Good people. They're very good people, but They're wired differently. So good for them. We like to talk. I like to say instead of eat what you kill, it's rather farm what I eat.
Yeah, exactly. Cultivate
it a little bit more. But on the other side of why are some people the way they are? Sometimes you can't ask the question. Sometimes, I say this quite often, not all the baby turtles make it to the ocean, unfortunately. But that seagull is eating really damn well. Mm. So the strong ones make it. Mm-hmm. The ones who lay in the back, bird food.
How much do you, and this is a really big question, a little bit of a transition, but not. How much do you turtles? See? We're going to cut that. No. How much do you see, have you seen new technology change what you do?
Oh, it's every 36 minutes. I mean, at best, it's always changing. Can be a scary challenge. Hard to see past it sometimes. And there's always the next tool, the next social media piece, the next way to get in front of people and do their mobile IDs and serve them ads. And there's always some new trick, but still there's a human on the other side. So yeah, the tricks are good. How do we still use it to get in contact with that human? The best way I can put it is if I put a rusty hammer and a dull saw in the hand of a master carpenter, they'll make something amazing.
Yeah.
Stephanie
Yeah.
will make something beautiful. Now she'll do even better with a nice tool, but she knows what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So the tool is important, but it's the intent on the other side. So the tools are always changing. What are you trying to do with it?
The intent and the knowledge
Mm-hmm.
and the intent is defined by the knowledge.
Hopefully.
In a way, you
Hopefully.
know. So what do you, I feel like this is the next logical question. What does the future of Wabash and Lake look like? And whether that could be 3 years, 10 years, 20 years, maybe all of the above.
So I like to joke. I can't find anybody else in the country who does all that we do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are a lot of fractional CMOs, fractional marketing directors, but they come and they tell you what to do. They take the retainer check and they walk out, and your team has to do the work. They check back within the 30 days or through email or something. Nobody yet is either smart enough or potentially dumb enough to do what we do, where we bring that full team. We'll bring you the thought and then the action together. That continues to catch. Every time we put it in front of the right people in the right way, people's businesses, even this morning, are saying, so many groups need this. Can you talk to these people and these people? Well, yeah, we can. I think it's going to continue. The marketing space is, unfortunately, you know, the colleges are putting out marketing people, however many thousand per semester. And yeah, I've got my degree and I know marketing. Well, commodity, like I mentioned earlier, there's just the commodity, unfortunately. So the more of those jobs are seen as commodities, that's not good for them, but the businesses still need a plan to grow.
Right.
And advertising marketing is always the canary in the mine shaft. It's the first to get cut, the first to get throttled back, the first, you know, to pull back when times might be tough or they want to put some more money in their pocket. Well, what we do allows them to put the money back in your pocket, bring you a full team. So I see more growth in what we're doing because we're more adaptable. We unfortunately can allow clients, you know, businesses to throttle back that, invest in us, and maybe put that money into their operations, into their sales, places where it can really make a direct impact on their bottom line. We can help with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I see there's real future in what we're doing.
So I'm trying to say this in not a way that has any sort of judgment, positive or negative of it. So the plan for the future, the goal for the future is to essentially sort of continue doing what you're doing, just more of it, and grow both in terms of how many clients you have, how many people you have on staff, but then also, I assume at some point, maybe the size problems that you're solving, bigger clients beyond. Or are most of yours small businesses?
Small to small medium.
Yeah.
Yeah. Small is where we really do our best. The small businesses are the ones that I used to love to serve. Logan used to love to work with. Shelly used to love to talk with and meet. Jana used to love to work with them. They're the ones that I remember being in a meeting. This is like 2009, right as the world was upside down in 2009. And I walked in, and this one lady who used to work with, she's a sweetheart. She was crying her eyes out. The TV was on, and she's crying. Like, are you okay? What's wrong? My kids don't have a future. The world is everything's the market's upside down, and they'll never have a job, and life is terrible. Like, and there's nothing I can do. I forgot that. That's what she ended it with. There's nothing I can do. Well, yeah, there is. You every single day are working with small businesses and making their world better. The small business is what America is built on, what our country's built on. So I see the more that we can help those small businesses be solid, steady, and continue to grow, while the big ones go up and down and consolidate and do their stuff. Great, let them have it. We can make sure that the small businesses become strong small businesses in our community.
I think 60% of working Americans are either small business owners or work for small businesses.
And that's not going anywhere anytime soon.
No, I think it's only going to go up. I really do.
So the more we can be a part of that, be nurturing for them, help them be seen as not a commodity, I'm in.
Yeah.
I see a 5-year plan on that. We've got growth.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really terrific. And, I think our audience will be able to see that you're coming from a place of authenticity. Me and my wife's favorite word, earnestness. Which is really important. Is like, it's the number one thing that makes an actor dynamic. And it's something you can't teach, right? Is being earnest. And it's hard to find in business, and it sounds like you have it in droves. This is sort of, we're sort of coming up on our time. So and this is tricky because I feel like you are such a unicorn, you and your business both. You and Shelley and Logan and Wabash Lake, all unicorns.
Well, you actually say that we're as a badge of honor. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But what advice would you have? let's start here. To those people who are to those millions of people who are graduating with marketing degrees.
Anyone I know who's still going to school, get a business degree as well. Because what I've been seeing is they get out, I'm a graphic designer. Great. How does that apply to business? I don't know. Oh no. You better figure that out. You've got to be able to present your value. You got to be able to explain why what I do is important so that you will pay me or employ me. That's the biggest thing I see with so many baby turtles, if you will, that come out of the schools. I don't know if it's an easy way. I don't want to say it's easy because going to school for 4+ years is not easy. But it's so hard to just be a creative, like we said earlier, to be a creative but not understand the business side. I don't understand how you need to have exposure to both to survive. The best people in any role understand the positions around them. The best nurse knows how to communicate with the doctor and also with the social worker so that the patient gets exactly what they need. The best tire mechanic knows that the oil change guy, needs 2 smoke breaks per afternoon. You know what I mean? They understand the people around them. I retract that. Cut.
Yeah, stay away from the oil while you're smoking, for sure.
You might light yourself on fire. But the people, the best sales rep. Great sales reps can go in and sell anything to anybody and connect with them. The best ones know that they're part of an ecosystem and say, okay, I'm going to sell this thing, but I need to make sure that the people who make it happen have the right things to make it happen. And that's why they're the best sales rep. So understanding not just what you do, but the ecosystem around you to someone who's a creative coming out of school, video side, graphic design, web build, marketing. Great. What are those positions around you? And how do you, how can you present your value? I think that's critical, and it's missing so much.
And how you present your value is a statement more about your audience than it is yourself. Because how you present your value to a bank is going to be different than how you present your value to a restaurant or whatever the examples are. I don't know what's going on, Joe, but I was just having this conversation with myself in my head about the importance of, this sounds condescending, but knowing your place in society, or knowing your place in your role, regardless of whether you're an independent contractor like myself. Every working situation, I am still a cog in a wheel. I am still a part of a machine. I'm just a part of it. I'm not the biggest part. I'm not the most important part. I am just a part. And I have a very specific role that I have to do and if everyone is trying to do their role cognizant of everyone else's position, then you do your best. That lifts the other person up, and you just keep lifting each other up. And it's like Venice. It's like a floating city of people who are, just lifting each other up by everyone doing the right thing. And and I was thinking about this in context of theater, and let's just say a play, a cast. when somebody who is maybe in the ensemble or as a supporting role or something like that is unaware of their place in terms of how much attention they're soaking up from the creative team. And the reverse side of that is if you are a principal actor, well, now your responsibility is to be a leader. And now your responsibility is to come in off book and to know all of your blocking the first time it's given to you, et cetera, et cetera.
Every time.
Because then once you do that, everyone's going to see that and they'll be like, oh, crap. He is way ahead of the game. I need to do my homework tonight, and I'm going to come back tomorrow ready to go.
High performer every time, yeah.
High performers lift up everyone around them. When I was teaching at VCU, I was teaching winning presentations, and after 6 years of doing it, I learned that there was a ceiling for how good the class could be in terms of their presentation. And that ceiling was directly dictated by whoever was the best presenter. If there was a great presenter, the entire class would be awesome. But if I just, for whatever reason, you don't have a great presenter that semester, which could happen, then you're just, the whole class is not going to be as good. We're not going to be as connected. There's not going to be that same level of camaraderie. It's interesting.
I've been on a similar kick with the main thing I'm focused on right now. I'm not an annual like it's 2025 new goals, yay! But the thing that's fueling me, community. Community's fueling me more than anything. And so it's similar to what you were talking about, knowing your place, being around. If you're a goldfish and your aquarium is small, you're only going to be the size of that aquarium. Take that same goldfish, put it in 4 times.
Put it in the sewers.
It's going to grow.
It becomes a Ninja Turtle.
Every single time. Every time. So it's the community.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's very important to me, and knowing your place in it and how can you help raise it.
Yeah.
And
community, which is the good C word, is the important C word in our society, that is the biggest thread of this podcast and I think it's coming out of COVID, is we lost a lot of community.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna be interested to see how 2025 for businesses, big, small, medium, for arts organizations, whatever, what steps are people going to be doing to bring people out into the community, bring people together?
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful
too.
I'm not typically a hopeful person. I'm more.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like
Cautiously
optimistic.
Cautiously pessimistic.
Well, I've jokingly, sometimes people say, you're pessimistic. I'm like, no, was it pessimistic Patty or some nickname? And I'm like, no, I'm realistic Ralph. That's just.
Yeah, I like that.
No, so I do feel a little bit of hope. You can see, there are good people.
Yeah.
There's a community of good people who are looking for other good people, and if that's the unifying thread, we need more of it. Let's go.
Yeah. Richmond's a good spot for it too. I think that new amphitheater is going to be big for the city, I hope.
Weird Al's coming.
I just saw that today. I'm definitely getting my tickets.
I'll go. I'm Weird Al fan since my Sharona. I mean, literally, I'm not kidding. I'm really not kidding. No, not my Sharona. It was my Bologna. My Bologna. Sorry, my Bologna.
My Bologna. Yeah. No, oh yeah. Wow. My Bologna.
I used to listen to oh god, what's the radio DJ that discovered Weird Al. I listened to him Friday and Saturday nights on the radio under the sheets listening.
Yeah.
And I listened to all of that, and
I can still recite the entire Star Wars this here Anakin guy. I can do the entire thing.
Eat it. I'm fat. I had all the singles. I had all that stuff.
I think what Weird Al, the thing that he is underappreciated for is his original songs. Because like every album would be like a parody and original, a parody original. And all of his originals are ridiculous. They're silly, but they are so funny and good.
Christmas at Ground Zero. That's one of my favorites. It's a holiday time.
Yes.
Look it up. Give it a good listen. Christmas at Ground Zero is brilliant. And
Traffic Jam. It's a great one.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. So as we're wrapping up today, any final thoughts for people? I mean, this will be, when people are hearing this, it's either going to be right at the end of 2024 or right at the beginning of 2025. So what are your final thoughts, either leaving the year or something to launch people into the new year with?
I'd again, the biggest thing I'm looking for me as a person, for my wife, for us, for my team, it's community. It really means a lot to me. Being surrounded by the best people. I have the best team. They're gonna, if they hear this, if they haven't stopped listening to me by now. I walk into meetings with them and I get nervous because they're good.
Yeah.
And I love that feeling where, okay, they're smarter than me. I better up my game a little bit. But that's community, being surrounded by good people.
Yeah, after they hear this, they're going to be like, Joe, are you okay? Do you need water?
No, it's going to be, I want a 50% raise. I'm like, oh, damn it. I shouldn't have said that. No, probably will. Maybe a 65% raise. But being around good people in everything we do, I think is important. Whether it's work, whether it's our hobbies. And yeah, it's post-pandemic. The need for community is just, I see it more and more in everybody I'm talking to. And yeah, I want that 100%. So also, we are very fortunate to have a good community of, I got to compliment another one, that we have the treasure chest of some of the best businesses around. That's community. We've earned that right. We make them all better. It's a great community to be a part of, and I want more of that.
If somebody's listening to this and they have a business and they're like, I need to hire this guy, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Whistle. No, so I'm on LinkedIn. Not a heavy poster because I just am not, but I'm on there. WabashLakeConsulting.com. Or reach out to you and send them my way too.
That is actually a great point.
Yeah.
Definitely reach out to me if you want to hire Wabash and Lake to transform your brand. Remember, it's not just branding. It is
building a better promise. Yeah.
Building a better promise. It's the entire ecosystem of your communication with the outside world as a business.
Yeah. So that customers see you as a real human who cares about them. Yeah.
Joe Doran, I really appreciate you being here.
Dude, I love working with you every time. Yeah, you're one of our faves. Yeah.
Ditto.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.